So we are continuing the discussion on this topic, contentment. And now, many of you may have heard of these three terms used in Vedic literature: Satyam, Dharma, and Rhythm. These are three terms. These are three dimensions of Vedic way of life. Satyam literally means truthfulness. Dharma means the practical aspect of the truthfulness in our everyday life, everyday activities. Rhythm is a very complex term. Rhythm stands for the regulating principle of not only our individual life, but also the cosmic existence. That is the real meaning of rhythm. So you find in this cosmic phenomenon, there is a sequence of events. There is a harmonizing principle. To give an example, if you disturb the intricate balance of cosmic life, there will be some problems. For example, if you cut the trees through deforestation, you are upsetting this rhythm, this balance of cosmic life. The rainfall will be reduced and deserts will emerge, climate will be affected. This is one example. Or if you block the natural flow of rivers by constructing a dam, we are in a way upsetting the rhythm of cosmic existence. So also if you eat poisonous food, we are upsetting the rhythm of our body, our bodily health. If you do things that disturb our mind, then we are upsetting the rhythm of our mental health, psychological life. So, in other words, rhythm stands for the harmonizing, regulating, balancing principle behind existence of individual beings and also the cosmos. This is what rhythm stands for. And Satyam is the philosophical, the doctrinal aspect of the same rhythm. If we stick to truth, then there will be harmony and integrity in our life. And when we live a life in tune with this rhythm and upholding the principle of Satya, truthfulness, then we have to follow a set of principles which together called Dharma. So the Satyam, Dharma and Rhythm. These are three aspects of the same integrated whole, which is the very essence of Vedic scheme of life. In fact, yesterday one of our students, listeners, put this question. 4 fundamental values, so the Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. These 4 core values of life is also a way of integrating the rhythm in the scheme of our ordinary life. Now, the point is, to have contentment, lasting peace, we should stick to the principle of rhythm. We should not disturb the natural state of affairs. You can, even for medical science, you can get the example. When a foreign body enters the stomach or something, there will be a problem. Something is alien to our natural system. If it enters the body system, then there will be problems which you call illness or sickness or whatever it is. So one way of practicing inner contentment, inner harmony, inner peace is always to stick to the principle of rhythm or dharma, whatever we may call. Now, Ishavasya gives a graphic picture of integrating these principles in our life. So, into the first two mantras of Ishavasya integrate two dimensions of Vedic life, Pravarti Dharma, Nivritti Dharma. So you find the first mantra is Ishavasi Vidam Sarvam, Yedkincha Jagatyan Jagat, Tere Tere Munchitaha, Magdha Kasishuddhanam, the Kurvaneva Iha Karmani, Jivishishatam Samaha, Evan Tui, Nannide Dosti, Na Karmani Pidenare. These are two mantras which even men like Gandhi, who were not Vedantics in the classic conventional sense of the term, but were really practitioners of the highest principles of Vedanta and Dharma, even in the political social life. So he considered these two mantras as the essence of the whole of Vedic philosophy of life. So also modern Vedantics like RVAP do. And also many Vinoba and many great men who were not interpreters of Vedanta in the classic conventional sense of the term, consider these two mantras as the cardinal principles of Vedic scheme of life. Now coming to these two mantras first. The first mantra is in a way is a proclamation of the unity and oneness of existence. Isha Avasi. So Isha Avasi means Acharya means God envelops the whole creation. I mean the omnipresence of God, the omnipresence of the divine spirit is implied in this mantra. Now, so in what way is it related to our life? So, Jagat Sarva, the whole Jagat literally means anything that moves, anything that is in a flash, which is the characteristic of everything in this phenomenal world. So, whatever you find in this phenomenal world is to be considered as being enveloped or penetrated, shadowed by the divine principle. It means the omnipresence of the divine is implied in this. So in what way is it related to our everyday life? So Tena Tyaktena Gunjitha Magrita Kasya. Tyakta literally means something that is given up, but here it means the act of giving up, best literally. Tyaktena Tyagena. Shankaracharya's commentary makes it very simple. So therefore, you enjoy this world not by enjoying it, but by giving it up. So we can enjoy this world in two ways. One way, but that upset the whole rhythm of life, is by enjoying it, which means through greed, or by giving up through Tyaga. If we enjoy this world through Tyaga, then we can live in this world without being within the world. We can use this world without the world making use of us. We can live without being enslaved by this world. So Tyaga here means, in a way, it means non-attachment. We can live in this world, have the best of things, but at the same time, we should practice non-attachment. Now these two mantras are important according to many of these great social reformers, political leaders like Gandhi and others. So important because according to them it addresses the problems and realities of life of the common people, not monks living in the forest or hermitages, but for people who live in the midst of all the duties, responsibilities and obligations. So that's why the next mantra drives home the idea from the pragmatic point of view. So kurvaneva iha karmani jivishe shatam samaha. Iha means asmin loke, in this world, not in the forest. Not nivritti dharma, but so it addresses the reality of pravritti dharma, means abhyudaya, not necessarily nisreyasa. But abhyudaya that leads to nisreyasa actually. Begins with pravritti dharma means the life of everyday activities, obligations, responsibilities, and all that. So that's why he lived for 100 years. Shatam samaha jivishet. So live for 100 years in this world. But you must practice this non-attachment. If you live like that, then you can work, you can be active, you can make the best of the world, but at the same time, you can avoid being enslaved, spiritually enslaved, bound by the world. Because the world binds you, then we may work hard, make a lot of wealth, but at the end of the day, we won't be physically and psychologically healthy enough to make use of the fruits of all the wealth we have created. So it becomes a bondage, it becomes a liability. So one can live in this world by fully understanding the limitations of the world. Work with efficiency, with enthusiasm, with zeal and professionalism. But remember, this work by itself can end up in disaster, can be liability. If the work is not done with this ideal of non-attachment. So non-attachment is remember it's a psychological mechanism. It has nothing to do with practical life. So you work hard for 1 month and without caring for salary. That's not what it means. Very often it is interpreted in a very childish way. Nishkama karma. Go on working hard but don't care for the salary, for the benefits, for anything. So it will be very stupid. People will think this sort of religion is not for me, they say. But the real meaning is entirely different. In a way, it is an ideal of integrating spiritual principle in the scheme of everyday life and activities. One can live in this world, be active, and still be spiritual. Spirituality transcends in scope and dimension what we normally mean by religion. So spirituality is something universal. Now, in actual life, I can demonstrate this ideal in the light of 2 verses appear in the Gita in the 4th chapter. In the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna talks about the succession of philosopher kings of ancient India. So, Ivam vivasude yogam praktva nagam avyam vivaswan manave praha manavikshakave abravit evam parampara praptam ivam rajasyo viduhu sakalena ikam mahada yogo nashta parantava. These are 2 verses. Now, here is a description of the ancient ideal of life as practiced by the philosopher kings of ancient India. And the philosopher king in modern times is a concept that goes to Plato, probably. There he says, only a philosopher can be an ideal king. Because he says a philosopher will be a seeker of truth. He will be totally non-partisan, because he will have a transcendental vision of things. So a philosopher can be an ideal king. That is the philosopher. So the philosopher king ideal is from Plato in modern times. But that exactly is the topic of discussion in this Gita verse, which goes back to Mahabharata. So that means around 3000 BC. At least maybe 3000 years before Plato was born. Now the idea is this. Here the central theme of these 2 verses is the concept of philosopher king. It's called Rajarshi. So Shankaracharya in his commentaries, so Rajanascha, Rishayascha, Rajashayaka. So a person who is both a king and also a philosopher. Now, who is a philosopher? Let us say maybe metaphysics is a better term here, because the philosophy as understood in modern Western terminology doesn't really relate to the Rishi ideal of Vedanta tradition. So a philosopher, let's use that term for want of better terms. A philosopher is one who lives in this world with a far sight. And a king is a person who lives in this world itself, without bothering much about for the transcendental. So another commentator who wrote commentaries on Shankara's commentary, Shankarananda Saraswati, it's a tika, smaller commentary. So he says, Rajatvam Aishwarya Sambhati Rishitvam Tasyaha Sukshmartha Darshana Kshamatvam. This is his interpretation. This is a very far-reaching interpretation of the ideal of philosopher king. Rajatvam means Aishwarya Sambhati. So a king should be, those who know Vivekananda says, a king should have kingdom. He should have wealth. So these are the external signs of a king. So a king should have wealth, prosperity, power, all that. So Rajatvam Aishwarya Sambhati means should have wealth, prosperity, power, all this, administrative faculties and so on. And what is the characteristic of a rishi? Rishitvam tasyaha sukshmartha darsana kshamatvam. So a rishi or a philosopher understands the limitations of Aishwarya Sambhati. So money, wealth, prosperity, empirical power, all these are good for a king. But a king frequently thinks that's the beginning and also the end of life. He doesn't understand its limitations. If the king also is a philosopher, then by ruling the kingdom, he will be very wise, because the wisdom comes out of understanding limitation. Now, when you reach perfection in any branch of learning, you should reach its limit, which means you should understand its limitation, where it ends. If you know where it ends, or where to stop, then only you are the wise person. So understanding limitation corresponds to practical wisdom. So a rishi or a saint understands the limitation of prosperity, power, all these attributes which are natural for a king or an administrator. So if we can combine the far-sightedness, the higher wisdom, which enable us to make use of, but also to understand the limitations of power and prosperity, then that is what is called the wisdom of a philosopher king. So combining the efficiency, the professionalism, the natural skill to do things, plus understanding its limitation, which comes from the wisdom of the philosopher. The skill comes from the efficiency of a king or an administrator. This is the essence of these two verses in the Ishavasya Upanishad. So, as I mentioned yesterday, we have to live in this world. I am here talking not an assembly of hermits, but people who live in this world. Very competitive, very demanding world, which doesn't excuse, which we forgive. That they used to call before the globalization, before the beginning of the open market economy in India, is called Hindu growth rate, 2.3%. So India used to grow consistently at 2.3%, one of the lowest in the world. So it's a matter of shame. But after the open market economy was introduced, the economy was globalized, India began to grow at very high rates. So very often people think that Vedanta means keeping quiet somewhere, sleeping, talking big things and going and sleeping. So that's what Vedanta used to mean, unfortunately, for many years. But when you read the works of Shankaracharya, Swami Vivekananda, they are very dynamic interpreters of Vedanta literature. You find it presents before you very lively, very integrated, very harmonious philosophy of life. So it's a synthesis of the highest of family values, sacredness, sanctity of the institution of marriage, the institution of family life. At the same time, the innovation, the freedom of the spirit, not the tyranny of seniority which is part of the Oriental culture, So the freedom and innovation of the modern young societies of the Western world, minus its problems like the anarchy, disasters into the family institutions. So this is what you find in the Vedic literature. Now I am going to give you, I am going to present before you a picture of an ancient philosopher king. It's a very celebrated example of an ideal philosopher king of ancient India. I yesterday quoted from this verse, Bhagavata Purana. So it's working all right. Okay. So it's a dialogue. First, it has three different successions. One of the most well-known one is that it is a kind of a dialogue between a philosopher king and a great saint. That's what it is. The story unfolds like this. I mean, this is not story, it is history. So, Parikshit was the name of a great king, a wise man, learned, intelligent. He had combined the attributes, the contemplative characteristics, nature of a saint, and also the efficiency of a dynamic administrator, king. So that's the name. Now, one day he was moving the forests. So in those days, it was a duty of a king to look after the welfare of the hermits living in the forest, hermitages. So they have to protect these hermits from wild animals and also evil persons. So one day he was moving in the forest, bows and arrows, fully armed, as kings in those days used to do. So he felt hungry and thirsty after hunting for many days. And then he saw a thatched hut, a hermitage. So he entered the hermitage. There he found an old man, bearded, a great saint, a sage, sitting immersed in meditation, not conscious of what was happening around him. He didn't know that a king had entered his hut, his hermitage, hungry and thirsty. So the king naturally expected the hermit to get up from his seat and offer him drinking water or food. Please take rest here. But the sage was fully immersed in samadhi or concentration, meditation. So he didn't know the king had entered his hermitage. So the king, though he was a wise man, incidentally, he was the grandson of Arjuna himself. So he was a wise person with a good background, pedigree. But for some reason, when you get hungry, you become angry. So this king became angry because he thought the sage was sitting there with closed eyes and he didn't bother about him when he entered the place. So sometimes it happens even if a wise person may lose his balance. But But if he's really a wise person, there's a difference between losing balance and then becoming arrogant. So this king lost his balance, he became angry, and he looked about around the hermitage, and he found a dead snake lying in the neighborhood. He lifted that dead snake, its dead body, with his bow, and put it around the neck of the sage, and he went away. This is one part of the story. Next is, after some time, the sage's son returned to the hermitage. Remember, the sages were not monks. That's something you have to remember. Many of these sages belonged to the Ramakrishna Ashrama. They were not monks. So in ancient times, it's a practice in India that when you reach a particular age, maybe 60 years or 70 years, you don't stay in your home being a pestry next generation, or going to a beauty parlor, whitening the teeth and blackening the hair, trying to reverse the metabolism of the evolution of the human body. Instead of that, the husband and wife used to go to forest hermitage and spend the rest of their lifetime there in contemplation, meditation on God or next life. This was the practice of all noble, cultured, refined householders. So there is a statement, in fact there is a rule on this in Manusmriti. Manusmriti was the most important constitutional literature in ancient times. In many of the clauses of modern constitution taken from the Indian constitution. So there is a statement in Manusmriti. It's an injunction for all householders. So, Gravastas yada pasyi vari paridam atmanaha apatyasya apatyam tada aranyam samasaye. This means, so Gravastas yada pasyi, when an householder, when he becomes very old, and when his hair has gone grey, when his face has become wrinkled, so indications of old age. And when he had seen the responsible grandson or granddaughter following the family succession, then he should not remain in his home, as he is trying to reverse the metabolism of the body. He must take to forest with his wife. So both husband and wife had equal place in the Vedic scheme of life, in the religious scheme of Vedic life. Both women and men had equal place, equal status. So both husband and wife, that's why Valipadidam Atmanaga Tada Aranyam Samasya. Then he was going to fast. Fast means in those days a lonely place, literally, where you can think of the higher things. That's what Ramakrishna also says, once in a while, householders should go to a temple or a lonely place, or maybe in their own home, in a special room set apart for that meditation, and stay there. So this is the practice. So many of these great sages of ancient India, the majority of them were householders. They were retired householders. Many of them must have been kings themselves, but taken to the life of hermits. Though many of the great ones were also, of course, monks also, but the majority of them were householders. So the name of this sage was Shamika, and his son was Sinki. So his son returned to the hermitage, and he found to his shock that his father was sitting there, deeply immersed in meditation. His eyes are closed, but with a dead snake hanging on his neck. So he got angry. So he knew there was an evil person who has done this, insulting his father, dear father. So the story goes like this. It comes in the first skandha of Bhagavata Purana, 18th, 19th, chapters you find, the first book. So the little boy, though he was a smart boy, he was a powerful spiritual seeker, so he had acquired tremendous meditative powers. But again, he was immature, as you are going to find out later. So he got angry, he cursed. He said, whoever may have done this heinous crime, sinful deed of putting a dead snake around the neck of my father, let this man die on the seventh day from now, beaten by a snake, poisonous snake. So that is the curse that he put on. He didn't know who had done it, but anyone who had done this. Now, after some time, the old sage opened his eyes. So he came to know what had happened. And he felt so remorseful, because he had great regard for this king. The king was a great man. Even a great person could sometimes lose his balance. That's what the story demonstrates. So the Shamika, the sage, was a wise man. So he felt very sorry that his own son had put a curse on the fate of this king, who made a mistake. But he should not have been cursed like that, because he knew what his son had said about the king will come true, literally. So what the sage did, he sent a messenger to the king. I'm sorry that the king didn't know that you visited my hermitage, but I was meditating, so I didn't know you had visited. So I couldn't greet you properly, but later my son came and he found out what you did. So he had put a curse on you. And remember, what my son's curse is going to come literally true. There is no way out. Even I can't save you. Now the third chapter of the story comes like this. When the king heard about this curse, he did not get angry. That's why he is called a philosopher king. So there is a difference between a person who is doing spiritual practice and happens to commit a mistake, an error, and others who do not care for any spiritual practices, who commit error. Those who make a mistake but also have a spiritual bent of mind, who engage in spiritual practices, will realize their own mistake. Others will not realize. Because if you practice any spiritual sadhana, if you do any spiritual practice, meditation, reading of holy scriptures, contemplation, any of this, that will give us a mechanism which enables us to turn the light, flashlight, into our own heart. So it will help you to introspect and find out our own mistakes. That's a special characteristic of a spiritual seeker. Others won't be able to do that, because their eyes are always open external, outward. So they won't be able to turn the flashlight into their own systems. So the king was a great spiritual seeker himself, and a wise man, a philosopher king. So he never got angry. Because of his wisdom, he realized he deserved the curse that is put on him. So he did not blame the small boy or his father, the sage. He blamed himself. Well, I made a mistake, so I deserve this. That's how Parikshit felt. And then what he did? Now you can imagine what a person will do if he realizes that he has only 7 days to live. The curse was that he will be killed by snake bite on the 7th day from now. That is the curse. So the king realized, because the sage's messenger had informed him that he had only 7 days to live. So how will you react if you realize you have only 7 days to live? Withdraw all the money from the bank and go to Las Vegas? Hawaii? That's one way. The other one is you may go mad also. You may lose balance. But the king, it didn't happen to him. What he did, he decided to spend the rest of his lifetime in meditation on spiritual values, meditation on God. So he called his eldest son Janamejaya, made him the next king, and crowned him as the heir apparent, and he left his kingdom, his palace, his comforts, everything, went to the banks of Ganga. So when news spread that a great emperor Parikshit had renounced everything, had taken to the life of contemplative, has come to the banks of Ganga and sitting there in meditation, then many wise men, many sages of those days came to see him. They were highly impressed at the wisdom, because he did not get angry. He would have punished the sage and his son. He didn't do that. He thought he deserved it because he made a mistake. It's the greatness of a king. He realized he made a mistake and he thought that he deserved the curse, the punishment. So many people came. At that time, along with other sages, there was this great rishi called Shuka. He was a monk, a born monk. He was a monk from his boyhood. So when Parikshit heard that among the assembled sages there was also Shuka, the great Shuka himself. So Parikshit puts one question to this sage. So Atha Prichami Samsiddhim Yoginam Paramam Gurum Purusasyeha Yadkarayam Mayamanasya Sarvatha. This is the question. What should a dying man do? Then he goes on asking Kartavyam, Smartavyam, Japyam, whom we should meditate, how to do our duty, what we should think of, what we should meditate upon. I mean a person who realizes that death is staring at him in the eye, only 7 days to live. In response to this, in the next kantha, first chapter, Shuka gives the reply. So Indavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam Sutharma Parinishthaya Janma Labha Parapumsa Ante Narayana Smriti. This is the answer. So one should be able to leave this world with a smile on your face, God's form in your heart. That is the real life. So if we can live intelligently, we can die intelligently. So that's why Janma Labha Parapumsam Ante Narayana Smriti. So the highest fundamental value that we can aim at is to be able to die with a smile, no complaint, smile on your face and God's form in your heart. For this you can practice Karma Yoga, the doctrine of the way of unselfish action, or devotion, or meditation, or Jnana Yoga. Any of these one can practice. Now, the main point that we want to stress is the king, though he realized that he had only 7 days to live, and also realized that he committed a terrible sin, a sinful deed, insulting a great sage. Still, he was not devastated. Even a great philosopher king blundered, stumbled upon a sinful deed. But that did not mentally devastate him. Rather, it opened new eyes in his heart. And his contentment was not disturbed. Parikshit is well known in the mythological literature, philosophical literature, as a symbol of the highest devotion and the highest wisdom. So this is one example of contentment of a very unique type. I mean contentment of the highest spiritual type, where you look upon the whole life as a preparation for higher existence. And that's why in Vedantic tradition, yogic tradition, death is not a crisis. Death is only a transition point. So if you want to travel from here to another place, if you have to change the plane in one of the airports, you will be shocked or disturbed. So like that, death is only a transition point in Vedantic wisdom. That's why one of the boons that Nachikéta asked in the Upanishad literature is the wisdom, the highest wisdom that teaches us the highest spiritual truth. That is the mystery of death. Because mystery of death is not something terrible, not something to be scared about. Because death in one way shows the limitation of the body. It also reveals the infinite, immortal nature of our true self, Atman. Because if the body comes to an end, something is left out. That reality is immortal. So, the best way and the most spiritual way of seeking contentment is to seek the transcendental spiritual dimension of the personality. Going beyond the physical, going beyond the intellectual, reaching the spiritual. That is what Buddha found in the fourth experience he had when he was walking in the streets of Kapilavastu. Buddha found a dead man's body being taken to the cremation ground. He was shocked. Then he found a sick man's sickness, the reality of sickness. It affects the body. Shocked him. And old age. The young body becomes old. That also shocked him. And then he found the face of a saint. That did not shock him. And the saint must have been old. But in his face, he found the picture of contentment. That's the highest contentment that Upanishads and Vedanta presents before us. Other contentment may be alright, temporary, for some time. Kind of satisfaction. A kind of lifting of this spirit. For some time we feel energized. That would be good. I don't contend that is its own place, its own role, no doubt. But it stays only for some time. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Satya, Dharma, Rita and all that. Now, in the Vivekachudana that you are studying and right now, you can find this Manushyuktam, Mumukshuktam, Mahapurusha Samsaya. These three important characteristics that are mentioned in the Vivekachudana. The first one is the state of being born as a human being. Then second one is the desire to realize the limitation of our present state of affairs. Very frequently, we realize our limitation only when we are compelled to remember that. That's an important thing. Frequently, we turn to spiritual life only by a set of negative circumstances, some shocking experiences. You go on helping a person, that person turns against you. Or you work hard for something, the result is just the opposite. So you find in life, the logic of mathematics and science doesn't work. Mathematics and logic, in science, 2 plus 2 is always 4. It can't be anything else. If you add 2 plus 2, it should become 4. In a laboratory also, the same logic operates. But in life, it doesn't work that way. In fact, that's what really opens our inner eye. Even if our life followed the logic of science, we would be sitting here discussing Vedanta. We would be doing because our life will be mechanical. So in actual life, the logic of science and mathematics doesn't operate. 2 plus 2 may not be 4 in life. It may be true in mathematics in the classroom. Let's give an example. As I gave the example of previous day, Swami Vivekananda gives the example of Maya. One of the definitions of Maya is indescribability or non-definability. Sangha, Pesanga, Vivayatmigano, Bhinna, Bhinna, Vivayatmigano, like that it goes on, So Mahadbhuta Anilvachaniya Rupa. So Anilvachaniya Rupa means it is of the nature of indescribable. It is beyond description. Which means you cannot say it is not, it is existence or non-existence. Sat na prasanna. It is neither sat nor sat. It is with part, neither without part. Nor is combination. So there is no way for us to logically explain the reality of life and its problems. To give an example, you may spend all your lifetime to help a person. That person becomes your enemy. You may do nothing to help another person, he becomes your friend. See, the logic doesn't work that way. In logic, if you help one person, that person should reciprocate. 2 plus 2 is 4, nothing else. Laboratory also, the chemicals put together in chemistry, the result can be predetermined. It is logic, it follows a logic that is within human intelligence, within the jurisdiction of human intelligence. But in life it doesn't operate that way. And it's good that this logic doesn't work in life. Because if it worked, there will be no music, no higher skills, no mysticism, no spirituality, and we won't waste 1 minute. And our life will become mechanical, and either we become monsters, morons, or machines. If life had followed the logic of science and mathematics. So, when we are faced with this indescribability or unpredictability or inexplicability of the realities of life, then we look beyond the present, beyond today, beyond the logic of events, and then we look for an answer. Then only we turn to spiritual life. So, the wise person is he or she who turns to spiritual life without being forced or compelled by circumstances. If we wait for circumstances to compel us, it is not a sign of spiritual wisdom. So, it's better that we logically understand the limitations of the secular, the worldly pleasures, and then turn our attention to the higher. This is possible only for human beings. That's why Shankaracharya says, Manushyattvam is the most unique gift from God. And because that Manushyattvam can lead to Mokshuttvam, a strong desire to look towards the transcendental, without being compelled by circumstances, without being forced by circumstances, without being taken by the throat by a merciless fate or destiny. If you can turn our attention to the spiritual, that's the real mumukshutva. And then Maha Purusha Samsayaka. Association is very important in spiritual life, in cultivating contentment. You can see in our own life, if we go on associating with people who are doubtful and skeptical, if we are only on our track, we are still in the process of evolving, we have not reached the highest level of spiritual experience, we are likely to be disturbed by some forceful personalities full of negative ideas. So negativity is one serious problem. That's why Shankaracharya says Maha Purusha Samsayaka. Because when we associate with people who have taken the same route earlier and who have travelled many times and reached the destination, then we can be sure, we can trust his words. If you remember yesterday's illustration, it is very Yafik. We talked about the pilgrim who was heading towards Gandhara Desha. And now, as he was making a lot of noise from the forest, a compassionate, kind-hearted fellow pilgrim heard him and went to the forest and took him to the main street and showed him the way. But that person who is a teacher, he should have traveled many times up and down. Then only he will be able to show him this is the route, this is the road you have to take to get back to your hometown. So that person should have traveled, should be familiar with the terrain, with the place, with the road. Otherwise he will be able to guide. But suppose this person may have taken a different sort of man who may not be familiar with the route. He may give wrong instruction. So Shankaraचार्य says Mahapurusha Samsaya. So association with the right type of people is very crucial in spiritual life. Sometimes people ask this question, if everything is Brahman, then why can't we associate with everyone? That's fine. If you reach the highest level of spiritual realization, then we can try to convert other people. See, Sri Ramakrishna could convert Girichandra Ghosh. But ordinary people would have suppose tried to convert Girichandra Ghosh. Girichandra Ghosh would have converted them to him. They take him to some wine store or somewhere. So, Sri Ramakrishna himself insists on this point. And one of his cardinal instructions all the time is to meet people who have got spiritual aspirations like any of us. Because such association will reinforce, will enrich our own spiritual efforts. So before reaching the highest level of realization, one should not try to associate with people who are skeptical or doubtful. In fact, this idea, which is very crucial, is brought out in the Bhagavata Purana itself. Yesterday I quoted 3 verses, given one after another, in the 11th skandha, which I mentioned yesterday, a dialogue between 9 sages and Vijaya, meaning King Gini. So, Nimi Navayogi Sambhada. In fact, I have given about 4 or 5 lectures on the same topic, this dialogue, in Pittsburgh. So you find the YouTube, you find Bhagavatam Nimi Navayogi Sambhada. You can get it in our YouTube. So there are 3 verses in the 2nd chapter of the 11th book of Bhagavad Purana. The first verse speaks of the greatest saints and sages, like Buddha, Jesus, Shankara, Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, all the great men and women in any tradition. They could bring about a total change and transformation in the lives of others through their association. That's the topic you find. Sarva Bhudeshu Pashit Bhagavad Bhavamatmanaha Bhudani Bhagavati Atmani Esha Bhavamudottama. Who is the highest devotee? Bhavamudottama. The one who experiences the presence of God in everything and the presence of the whole creation in God. The highest devotee, the highest spiritual person. But what about those who have not reached this stage? So the next verse gives an option. What about many of the spiritual seekers who are still traveling, still evolving, still in the process of growing up in spiritual life? What should be their approach? What should be the way of interacting with others around? That's the topic here. So, Ishvare tadadhineshu bhariseshu dishu